So, I'm on my usual Facebook, right? And I get a funny little post I noticed. And it's from a group called Interfaith Workers Justice. And they have an agenda, I'm sure. It's interfaith, of course, but they quote Christian text. I don't know how much interfaith they really have, you know. So, usually when you see interfaith, it's always a Buddhist text, so it's breaking the stereotype. But in the picture, which you'll see, is a picture of a girl crying with an older lady, and there's a fence in between them. Well, this is about immigration. Which is kind of a funny topic, hot topic for a lot of different people, but it's not for me. Now, when you have a picture like that, it tugs at your heartstrings because apparently the mother came in the country when she was younger, to have a family, they'd have a better life than what she was having in Mexico. But now the kids are high school to college age, and mom's getting kicked out of the country. So, in one spectrum of the emotions, you have people sitting there, we must reform our ways, and we must do all these things to help these people. Why are we helping criminals? If they came into the country illegally, undocumented, the proof's in the pudding. They're leeches. Doesn't matter what you have to say in the matter. If you come into a country that's illegal, it's illegal. Now, bear with me before you start pissing and moaning and throwing hate mail at me or curses. Because I have a solution at the end. You may or may not like it. But bottom line is, someone broke the law. They came to the country undocumented, and yeah, they raised families. They had kids here. The kids are citizens, but they're not. So with this picture, boo-hoo, right? Well, the problem with that is she committed a crime. It's her crime that she committed, being illegal. They caught up with her and they're kicking her out. So now she thought she was entitled to being here because she snuck in and worked illegally. So instead of seeing jail time, they kicked her out of the country. And they probably did it not only to kick her out, but they kicked her out for a 5, 10, or 15 year period, not allowing her back in. So basically when it comes right down to it, someone who comes in this country illegally is no different than a bank robber, a child molester, or a murderer. You broke a law, there's a penalty to break the law, and you have to face it. That's how I see it. And I'm looking at it very numerically, very logically, very objectively. That's how it is. You did it wrong, and the justice is this consequence. Now, what's my remedy? Well, Mexico had a president that came into Arizona and made a public speech about how Arizona has to change their ways of treating immigrants and how they treat, foreigners, right? Sounds pretty powerful, pretty strong stuff from a Mexican president. But if you ever go to YouTube and you look up Mexican constitutional immigration laws, they will actually read out to you what Mexico's immigration law is, which is part of their constitution, which legally makes immigrants second-class citizens. You can't own property. You cannot work unless a Mexican gets a job first. And if you work without papers, you go to jail. Sounds pretty rough. Almost like us, right? So why are we giving any people who come into this country any better treatment than the country that gives any other immigrant status? So my solution is reciprocity. What is reciprocity? It's a big word for some of you. It's easy. Basically, I think we should have a reciprocity act. If you belong in a country that allows immigrants to come in into a country undocumented, and within 6 months you become a citizen, we'll do that for you. But you have to prove that you're from the country of origin, right? Secondly, let's say in certain Arab countries, you cross the border illegally, they shoot you and they leave your body to rot where they found you. They do. Look it up. Google it. I did. So That's what I think. I think we should do what's called a Reciprocity Act. In other words, we're not going to act any different from the country that you left if you came here illegally. If you come in documented, welcome to America. You come in here like a snake in the grass, we'll hunt you down like the boa constrictors and pythons in the Everglades. Therefore, we're not going to be any better than the country you left if you came here illegally. And when it comes to Mexico or Mexicans, read up their laws about how they treat immigrants, and you'd be surprised how lenient we really are. So that's my 2 cents for this thing about divided immigrant families, you know, and all that horse shit. It tugs at your heartstrings. But if you look at it objectively, they broke a law. And the law they broke is self-reflection on their actions as to what they did. They came in here illegally, and they left. Solution, mine at least, would be a reciprocity law or a reciprocity amendment where we will treat the citizens of foreign countries the same way as they treat illegal aliens coming into this country. The only backlog or back law would be the Cubans, because they're the only ones that come into this country legally for political asylum. So yeah, go figure. You come into our borders, touchdown, and if you're a touchdown, on the second you put your foot on the earth, you have political asylum. That's the only country that has that exemption for political reasons. So now, if you want to play your chess game differently, do a Reciprocity Act with a small list of exclusions. What countries are allowed to come in this country? I say Sweden. If they can make it that far, they can make it here, and more power to you. Now, if you think I'm joking, my first illegal immigrant was a Swedish person. He was a carpenter. My second one was Egyptian. I think if anyone was going in this country illegally and, you know, and get such exemptions, it would be them. They traveled farther. There you have it. You see, if you want to make a compromise, do a real compromise. I mean, my personal experience, the illegal aliens I met came from across the world, not from across the equator. So, being a Floridian, we have plenty of illegals. Coming from Texas or Arizona, you get a lot of, you know, illegals there too, and California. And surprisingly, even in the Northeast. I don't know how they made that reach, but that's how I see it. For better or for worse, I believe in reciprocity. I believe we'll treat you no different than your country will treat other immigrants. See how much level of immigrants flow in at that point. Because obviously if you have a country that's going to shoot you at the border, wow, won't that be a surprise? You know? I thought he was an Arab. I'm sorry, I did a headshot. Things like that would make people wonder, maybe we should document ourselves coming in. After all, government likes control. Give it to them on that perspective. But apparently they want to control the people that are already in and are already born here and everything else. That's another story, another agenda. So, anyways, so this wonderful thing about divided immigrant families, it's simple. They don't have to be divided. They just either one, don't get caught, or two, become a citizen. They'll be registered as a legal immigrant. And when it comes to the politics of changing, as they say, you know, this person's asking, I had a rebuttal, someone was asking about, you know, can't we have compassion here? Well, again, I believe in compassion, but I believe in reciprocity. Will I go to Mexico? Will I get the equal rights as a Mexican? No. Challenge me on that. Go to YouTube and look up Mexican constitutional law on, or Mexican law on immigration, and you'll see for yourself what they have to say. So when it comes to compassion, on a political level, on a governmental level, I believe in reciprocity. So at that point, you know, that's how I see it. Otherwise, the picture I see is a daughter no different than visiting a prison cell with a glass in front of her, talking to an inmate. She's holding hands and talking to her mother through a fence. And at the other side of the fence is Mexico, and she's in the States. So my compassion is, I believe there should be an equality, and that equality is reciprocity. It may not sound quite kosher, it might not sound right, but if you see how immigrants are being treated in other countries, you'd be surprised. No matter how tough you think America is the most lenient of all. Other people don't have a chance with a bullet in their head in other countries. So, food for thought. Believe in reciprocity. If you want equality, be careful what you ask for. Take care, and bye for now.